Oh my gosh. Anyway, hey guys, welcome to week whatever it is of our new other series. Well, what day are we on?
Of the series? Two.
What day is it?
Tuesday.
Okay, great. So today we're going to be talking about being a listener, right? Which I think is actually super beneficial, and I think is actually super important, but it's something that we often overlook for some reason. Or we're super good at listening, but only if it's like for our own response or something.
Yeah.
Or we're not good at listening because we're too busy like looking at our phone or laptop or distraction of some point. So for you, what is like a trick or a tip that you have to better listen?
For me, I always have to keep eye contact. Like, even then, I'm like...
That's super creepy. Like, I'm weirded out
eye
by
contact.
No,
if
I
someone,
agree.
like, covers your face, I'll be like, why can't I see you?
Oh, you just stop talking?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Hold on, I need to see this person. So I guess, like, eye contact and then just, like, really listening. Like, I don't know. Like, you really have to put in the effort to, like... really listen to that person instead of thinking other things. Like sometimes I'll like, oh sorry, I was like half listening, can you explain that again, even when I do all those tricks. So I guess you just have to be like super intentional behind it.
Yeah, I agree. I'd say the same thing, honestly, just being intentional. I keep eye contact too, so it's like, my parents always yelled at me and told me just to look right here when talking to someone, but I always just pick one eye.
At their nose?
Yeah.
I just pick one eye.
I just like right eye.
Isn't that
you
the
know?
weirdest
Yeah.
concept ever? Like,
Yeah, just
like
a
you
little
try to
bit.
look someone in the eyes, but you can't really. Like, you have
You
to,
can't look at both of their eyes.
You can't
at the
look
same
at both
time.
eyes.
Throws me off every time. I think that's what I think about when I listen to people sometimes, honestly.
My mom has a dog that probably could look at both your eyes at the same time because he has a lazy eye and it points in a different direction. Anyway, what is something that's really easy for you to pay attention to?
I think it's if like we have a common interest, like.
Name it.
Oh, name a common interest?
Yes.
Like if we like the same sport or like the same team or something like that.
Okay.
Like I'm more likely to listen to someone that likes the Cleveland Indians
No.
rather than someone that likes the Reds.
But how do you have a conversation with those people, or because no one likes Cleveland?
Ouch. I don't know. But
Same. Okay. What? I don't know either.
Yeah, I guess
Something super easy.
It would follow like the same thing, I guess. Like the interest you have, maybe the person, depending on the person. Like sometimes it's easier to listen to certain people, depending on like their relationship and stuff.
Okay.
So maybe.
What is something that is super difficult for you to pay attention to?
oh man, I don't even know.
right?
It's just like it's also all in the voice, like how someone's talking. Like if I'm just like
Like I sound like Jack Black.
yeah,
Yeah.
so I probably won't listen. But it's like I'm just kidding.
Some people don't find him funny.
Yeah, I think he's hilarious. You know.
Same.
But I think it's like I'm a big like hand like gesture person. I like voice goes up and down. I can be loud sometimes, even though I'm mainly quiet. But it's like if someone's just like monotone, I think sometimes it's difficult, and it's just like it makes me want to be more of an active listener. Like I constantly have to like keep checking up, like, oh, did you understand what they just said? Like, how do I respond to this?
Okay, so Lexia,
I just did that.
what
Stop.
do you think is something that's super easy or super difficult for you to pay attention to?
That's kind of difficult. No,
Yeah, but I was
talk with my
specifically
hands
talking
too.
to
Yeah.
Katelin.
So, like, that's-
no, I get that though.
Yeah.
Like I talk with my hands too, like I'm doing it right now.
Yeah.
But like I get that, and so I feel that way. The first thing that popped in my head was a professor at Olivet where he just spoke really monotone and just stood there the entire time, and I was like, can you like walk around or like speak in a different voice
Yeah.
or just sound more
Something,
interesting?
please.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
I'm falling asleep right now. This
Yeah.
is probably why I'm getting a C in this class, but
Do,
whatever.
do you guys think it's possible to become more attentive?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it is.
Okay, how so?
I don't know. I think sometimes it's really easy if you get called out for not listening.
That's true.
Someone's like, did you even hear what I said?
Yeah, get off your phone.
Yeah, and it's like that's
Whatever.
something that's like, oh man, I haven't been listening as much as I used to, or like I think it's just wanting to become like a more active listener. Like
Yeah.
in high school, my friends just like some things they would say they're like they're like I want someone to be able to listen to me. I'm like, oh, I want to be that person for you. So it's like I want to learn how to be an active listener right now.
Yeah.
What do you guys think listening paying attention has to do with like the mission that we're on? Like, where do you think that falls into?
I mean, if we don't listen to like the people around us and the things around us, we're never gonna get anything done. So like we can't get better, we can't help people be better, we can't make people feel better, like without listening. Like it all starts with listening.
I think that's really good. I think we as a church, if our mission is to bring the kingdom of heaven here and like usher in the kingdom of heaven, like you have to go and find the needs of your community, but you can't find the needs of your community if you're not listening.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you can't find the needs of an individual without listening, or whoever somebody, if somebody has a passion that they need to be like equipped to go run at for the community or whatever it is, like we can't find that without listening to them. So yeah, I think that that's really good. Where do you think that this falls, and maybe you guys have a good story of your own, where do you think that this falls with like our own personal relationship with God? Like listening to God, learning how to listen to God, all of that. Maybe you guys have your own story of that as well.
I think it's just like my story is like choosing not to listen to God. Like he's constantly like telling me like where I need to be, like trying to pick a college and like pick what I'm doing with my life. Like I would just spend like my week like taking career personality quizzes, even though like I knew what I wanted to do, but I was so nervous and I was just like, this can't be correct. Like this can't be right. This isn't like what I spent my life trying to learn how to do. And so it's just like choosing not to listen to what he's saying to me. It made my life more difficult. Like I was stressed out and like freaking out for like months, even though I knew like what I wanted to do and I'd only applied to one college. I was like, maybe I can apply to another one within like a month of them accepting me, you know?
Yeah. I think for me, mine would be the being patient aspect. Like you have to be patient with people when you're listening to them. Like you have to listen to them fully. And so sometimes I'm like, all right, God, like give it to me already. And I'm
That's like super hard to pay attention for that
one. I'm like, all right, when are you going to answer this? Like when's it going to happen? And so like me just being patient, like I need to be like, okay, listen to this person.
Well, that's actually what I was going to say is like one of my, like, this is super difficult to listen to is like people who just ramble. Like, it's like, dude, your story could have taken 3 minutes, but now it's like 45. And like, is there an end? Like, can you tell me what the point of this is? Like, I'm super confused. For us, when we listen to God, how do you know when you're not good at listening? Like sometimes there's like my 2.5-year-old, she literally will be like, Daddy, get off your phone. Mm-hmm. There's that reminder, right? Like how do you, but like sometimes, you know, like God talk back to me, question mark. How do you know how to get better with that, with listening to God?
Sometimes I feel like it's most likely God, but sometimes I'm just like, you really gonna be on your phone this long? And so I'm like, oh shoot, like you're right. So then I'm like transitioning off of that, or there's just like little times in my day and I'm like, oh, maybe, or if like something messes up, like a mistake or something, or even when I notice it with other people, I'm like, oh, I didn't really listen to that all the way. Like, and I realize it, then I'm like, oh, I need to get better at listening, even when listening to God.
Yeah, I think it's like a constant like check for me. Like I'm constantly praying that like whoever God's gonna send my way that day, like through their words or actions, like that I can like see like what he's trying to do, like what he's trying to get at me, and like because sometimes I feel like it's been forever since like I feel like I've like figured out like where I need to go, what I need to do, even though like it's not always a direct answer. It's just having faith, and it's like sometimes it's difficult to like understand that when you feel like it's been so long since you've known where you need to go.
So Proverbs 1:5, right? It says, "Let the wise hear and increase in learning, and let the ones who understand, let the one who understands obtain guidance, wisdom." Right? You think maybe? Yeah. When it comes to our mission, what are some ways we might need to learn and be guided?
That's good. Can you repeat that so I can process it again?
Yeah, sure. When it comes to our mission, what are some ways we might need to learn and be guided? And that's Proverbs 1:5. Let the wise hear and increase in learning, and let the one who understands obtain guidance.
I mean, I feel like just being in God's word and like having those people around you to be like, hey, here's how you can do better, or let me help you, or like seeking them out and being like, hey, can you help me with this? Like I want to get better at this. Can you help me? So just, I guess, being intentional about actually reading the Bible about it and then actually going to those people and seeking out like that guidance and that mentorship.
Yeah, and I think too what he's saying here is that like if you want wisdom, like if that's something that you actually seek for, the only way you're going to get it is through listening.
Yeah.
Like there's no other way to obtain that knowledge. Like you have to listen. That's the only way that you're going to be able to obtain it. On a scale of 1 to 5, how well do you believe that you listen?
I don't know. I'd say a 4. Like I know I've always been a
False. No, I'm just kidding.
Wow. I've always been like a pretty good listener. Like I like to hear people's stories. I love stories. Like I think they're so fun, and I just like being able. I think people can like teach me something when I'm listening to them. But then that one point is like sometimes I'm like I just straight up saying like I wasn't listening at all.
Yeah.
Can you please repeat that? And that's when I feel like a horrible person. You know, when you're thinking about what you're gonna do later today when they're telling you something important.
Right.
Yeah, it happens.
I want to say like
You're a 5 on swaying in those chairs. That's for sure.
they're so fun. I was gonna say 5.5, which is funny why you said 5.
Wow, you're going to have to be a fantastic listener then.
Oh my
see,
god.
Because it's
feel
a
like-
scale of 1 out of 5.
Oh, I thought you said out of 10.
No,
And I gave
definitely
myself
not.
a 4.
She said 4. You definitely said 1 out of 10.
1 out
He
of
said 1 out of
5.
5. I would not have given myself a 4.
I think I'm pretty good. I give myself a 4. Yeah. Me too. 3.5 probably.
It's out of 5. On a
It
scale
is out of 5?
Yeah.
So you
well,
probably
then I'll
have
go back
3.5.
to
She only gave herself a
4.
5.5.
Well, 5.5 is equivalent to like a 3.2 or something. 3.15.
Well, I was gonna say, like, I
7.
feel like I'm really good at listening to people sometimes, because that's what I do. Like, I'm a processor, so I listen. But that question didn't help at all, so, you know.
Yeah, well, I actually feel like some people are naturally, just by personality, are naturally gifted listeners compared to people like me and Katelin who like to talk.
Yeah,
So
I do love to talk.
I do love to talk.
It's fun.
Me too. Okay, so if you were to give our people one solid piece of advice of how to obtain being a better listener,
I'd say just have patience with people, because sometimes like you feel like they've been like talking so much, but like sometimes they need to. Sometimes people just
Yeah.
need to talk and they need to get something out. And so like it's just having patience and learning like, oh, like I could be learning something from this, or like I could be helping them in ways that like I don't even understand right now. But it's just having patience with like people, even if like you're having like a bad day, and just like learning to have grace and just like acting like you want to be in the conversation.
sure.
You know, because there's so many indicators telling like I don't want to be here, and like it's
Yeah,
just all
body
body
language.
language. Yeah.
Yeah. I would definitely say the be patience part too. Like, it has to be a thing. Like, even just listening to my sister the past week and just realizing I'm like, do I want to keep listening to this? But I listen. And so, and it's like important because I've seen God work through me through that as well. So just like, you never know when God's going to show up in those moments.
Yeah, and I would say too, like to when you're listening, I think one of the things that's super hard for people is like, part of listening is you don't have to respond. Like you don't have to respond to people. Like sometimes all they're looking for you to do is listen. But we think for some reason that that's not powerful enough. Like we have to have something to come back to. But like listening is in itself like a really powerful skill to obtain. Like Proverbs says, like it's wisdom. I mean, like it's a relational connection tool of listening to someone. Like when you feel heard, like those are the people that you always want to come back to. You know what I mean? Like, no, they get me. Like for some reason, whenever I like talk to them, like I feel different. This is great. So out there this week, we're challenging you, be a listener, and practice it. Like you're not gonna get better at it without practicing. Go this week, talk to somebody, have a conversation with them, ask them how they're doing, but like actively listen. We'll see you guys next week on this show, and we'll make Quentin do it or something. Peace. Hey, this is Reed from Whitewater Youth Team. We're so excited that you were here, but go check out our other stuff too. I don't know, comment, like, ring the bell thing. That's what Quentin says. Then watch something else and tell us what you think.